and welcome to the AAU TV Mid-Week News, and we are coming to you from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities in Accra, Ghana, and my name is Lydia Nyame. With me are
Jemima, Deladem, Dotsey.
And my name is Agyemang, Okyere, Darko.
Now the headlines on higher education. WASCAL signs MoU with AAU. And again, low quality of African engineers is concerning, says UNESCO.
And in our health news, Egypt to start clinical trials on COVID-19 vaccine, and also pregnant women show robust immune response to COVID-19 vaccines.
And in our tech news, we find the leverage of 5G networks to wirelessly power Internet of Things devices. I must say we're so glad that you've had time to watch us today. Don't go anywhere. We'll bring you more of the higher education news, health news, and tech news after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. If you feel like stepping out, remember social distancing. You might just save a life. Rock at home, stay at home, stay safe. Wash your hands with soap and running water. Spaced out but still in touch. Check in on your loved ones and stay safe. GTP, timeless.
You're welcome back from the break. And the West African Science Center on Climate Change and Adapted Land Use, WASCAL, signed an MoU with the Association of African Universities on March 26, 2021 to expand training and development of scientists in climate change. The West African Science Service Center on Climate Change and Adapted Land Use, WASCAL, is a large-scale research-focused climate service center designed to help tackle climate change and thereby enhance the resilience of human and environmental systems to climate change and increase variability. It does so by strengthening the research infrastructure and capacity in West Africa related to climate change, and by pooling the expertise of 10 West African countries and Germany. WASCAL partnered the Association of African Universities in aid of expanding training and development in climate change by the creation of graduate studies program to develop the next generation of African scientists and policymakers in the field of climate change and land management. In an interview with AAU TV, the executive director of WASCAL, Dr. Mumuni Sabadogo, gave more insight about the MoU.
Well, I think that in terms of sensitization, people are now really aware about climate change.
Okay.
At least broadly. That is something that we all need, okay, to join efforts to combat it, and then to maintain and improve the livelihood of everybody. Okay. So we need them to be very well prepared. We all know also that in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, the quota of Africa is really minimal.
Yeah.
Wow, this is great news for WASCAL, AAU, and of course higher education. But before we talk about the MoU that was signed, let's find out what the objective of WASCAL is in the first place.
You know, their objective is to enhance the resilience of socio-ecological system to the impacts of climate change and increase climate vulnerability. And they said they are going to do this through the identification of major climate change in these rural communities, and also explore adaptive strategies to reduce the vulnerability with regards to the climate change.
Okay, that's amazing. You know, Agyemang, I saw you in an interview with Dr. Mumuni Sabadogo. I'm sure you spoke about the MoU, and since you are here, let's listen to what you've got to say.
Well, I must say this is a great partnership. I mean, we expected more of this to come, and finally got here. And WASCAL has been in operation almost up to a decade.
Okay.
I think we celebrate a decade this year, and their operations has been precisely developing the capacity of the African continent in terms of scientific-based research to climate change and adaptable land use. And basically, our challenge has been the lack of experts in these fields. If we want to grow our economy that far, we need to have a strong scientific pillar of experts, data science and meteorology and climate change, basically.
Okay.
So WASCAL, with the help of the German government, came into existence somewhere in 2003 to create this capacity building. And it's been an all-African thing. West Africa has been so well with a competence center, which is really doing a lot of work in terms of research-based findings to advise policymakers on mitigating land use issues, disputes, and also climate change, and more into developing postgraduate scientists who will help in bring more research and advising policymakers on these issues.
Okay.
So this MOU sought to find, of late, WASCAL has a lot of institutions that they are running these programs with.
Okay.
And this MOU seeks to create more partnerships on how to reach out to other investors in Africa to create these postgraduate courses as well, these programs. They run free scholarships in communication, in climate change, science, and a whole lot. So AAU being the apex institution in Africa in charge of capacity building and training of higher grade institutions, maybe this is the avenue to reach out to members of AAU to consider these programs and run them. So we can also create this hub of qualified and cutting-edge scientists in the area of climate change and land use. So this is basically the wrap on the MOU.
Okay, just for the fact that WASCAL came to AAU with this proposal means they are targeting students. So I want to find out how exactly would this benefit students?
Yeah, I mean, this is the future of Africa we're talking about here in terms of climate change. A global phenomenon which has a local consequence on us. We don't contribute that much when it comes to the greenhouse gases, but we are affected by it because it's a global phenomenon. And we need to build ourselves in terms of capacity. We lack the scientific base of experts. We don't have them. So WASCAL seeks to create this niche of qualified experts in the area of climate change, meteorology, advising us about climate change, land use, and bringing out much more research-based findings. This will help us in our continent because we need this kind of people to beef up our economy in that area. So that is what WASCAL is doing to support students. And I mean, the scholarships they have, for students. If you want to enroll in these areas, you can enroll and also come out as qualified climate change scientists to help the African continent.
Sorry I'm coming at you a lot, but in your submission, you did mention that there are problems with climate change. But I mean, I'm not sure everyone has an idea of what problem exactly it is with climate change. So if you can run us through a couple of them.
Well, I mean, basically, climate change is like that very unusual temperature or rainfall trend average experience we have around us. So we know that the temperature of Africa, or let's say in Ghana, is 34 degrees Celsius, basically. And it's the average temperature. But if it changes over time to an unusual level, we say climate change is happening. We know rainfalls in Ghana somewhere May, June, July. And now rainfalls are severe in these areas, in these times. But if we find a twist of these rainfalls occurring somewhere December, January, February, you ask yourself, this is a climate change. So how do we alert the people that it's a climate change? And these climate changes are due to human
activities,
behaviors. Yeah, human activities like burning of fossil fuels, basically greenhouse effect gases. More the thing that we do basically that changes climate. And if we have less knowledge on these things, imagine what will happen. If we have no idea that the climate has changed and we don't prepare, what will happen to us? So we need this class of people who can do the research and extrapolate to tell us that, okay, by our forecast, this is how things are. Would you believe that recently there was this rainfall that occurred in Ghana, and it took the meteorological service to advise the public that there will be a thunderstorm rainfall within 6 to 8:30 p.m. So just be very careful. And that was informed by WASCAL. WASCAL were their state-of-the-art machines and systems, and their experts available could tell ahead of time and were able to advice. So people who knew about this did things ahead of time because they knew what was happening, and it happened. So if we have all these systems and these experts are available, then they can help us, inform us, policymakers, to know what to do, because we know that things have changed climate-wise. So that's the future we're looking at.
Okay, well, that is the future we are looking at. Now, still on higher education, African countries have been urged to professionalize their university engineering education systems as one way of enhancing capacity building and of producing competent engineers who would boost the quality of life on the continent and also create opportunities for sustainable economic development. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization made this call in its second engineering report. According to the report, Africa continues to have the lowest number of engineering professionals per capita of all regions in the world. More worrying in its findings is that the quality of engineers in most countries is low, and there are no indications that situation is likely to improve soon. The report points out that without high-quality engineers, development in key sectors such as agriculture, energy, mining, water and disaster reduction could remain stagnant for decades. On the other hand, countries that have high-quality engineers also have quality infrastructure, high job creation and significant economic growth. Well, those are quite controversial and also true concerns coming from UNESCO, because, clearly the number of students who offer engineering in Africa as compared to other continents are definitely low. But I want to find out what could possibly be the cost of Africa producing just a few engineers.
I would say engineering is a difficult subject, which involves maths and physics, if I must say. So with one being able to pursue such a course, it should take passion. It should be something the person actually loves from, let me say, infancy. The person has actually grown to love such a course. That way the person feels comfortable to be able to, pursue it, which I know most African students, don't really have that passion. And in that regard, they will actually go for a reading course, but not an engineering course. And the article made mention of a statement that graduate students cannot adequately apply to gain engineering skills outside their home country, which I know is also one one course to which we don't have a lot of students studying engineering. Because when you study engineering, that means you are limited in Africa or in your home country. You can't go outside to pursue other engineering courses that should help improve or develop your career.
Okay, Agyemang.
Well, I would like to respectfully better differ with Jemima's submission.
I like the sound of that.
Oh yeah. The point that we don't have passionate people to study engineering, I think, is fallacious.
Okay.
Not a lot are passionate.
It's fallacious because according to the World Bank report in 2014, March 2014, concerning engineering in Africa, this is what it said. Sub-Saharan Africa seriously lacks engineering capacity and relies heavily on imported expertise. We import people from engineering companies overseas and we pay them that huge sums for two reasons: insufficient outputs from our training institutions, and also poor quality education and the lack of practical experience.
Exactly.
Compare an ordinary engineering student in Africa to an engineering student overseas and look at their practical capacity. Then you see the gap.
It's true, because engineers in Africa are not trained to be problem solvers. They are just taught the book. Yeah. So you are an engineer just on paper,
but you cannot
in
practical,
you can't exactly. So
and that is not engineering. We are failing as a continent to invest.
Exactly.
We don't prioritize. Engineering is one of the programs that has a potential of transforming our economy, giving us fast progress. But what are we doing? Look at our institutions. Pick a typical organization or institution in Africa that's engineering and go and see their infrastructure capacity to train students. You will see there's a lack.
Much as engineering is a perfect and a great course to offer in school, lately you find parents discouraging their children not to offer engineering.
Why?
Especially in some African countries, because what is the point in going to school and still remaining unemployed?
Exactly.
Because we need an engineer who is willing to work, who has those skills. But then the engineers that some African countries produce are engineers who don't have the skill to work on the field.
Don't blame these engineers in Africa. Blame the misappropriation of our leaders to make engineering institutes the priority and invest in them. I know engineers in Ghana, basically, who are very good, talented. In fact, before they even went to engineering school, they were making things on their own. They were making electrical gadgets on their own. It tells you that innately they are born to be engineers. But they go to school and they don't find these machines to work with. There are some machines, you have to travel abroad to use them. We don't have them here. It's a funny story I saw on social media where a country in Africa exported a rock to China to detect to see if that rock has mineral in it. It was supposed to be a container and
exported to China.
Yes, to go and check. So we didn't have the geological scientists here enough to detect that this rock has some minerals in it. That is how pathetic we are. So on our own, we can't do anything because we have failed to invest. China has invested in engineering, and therefore they have what it takes to get the finest geological engineers, chemical engineers, all the engineers you know. But in our continent, we are failing to do that. That is how come we are lacking behind. So we are not able to make any finding on our own unless we wait for the first movers, second movers, third movers, whilst we lag behind. That is not the way to transform yourself for the future. This is not the way to position yourself for the future. We are the continent with the most potential youth who are known to be the highest hub of human resources for the future. But we are not having the capacity to build ourselves. Why? Because we don't have what it takes. The infrastructure we don't have.
So the whole problem starts with infrastructure,
we don't have
equipment. We do not have
the
those.
Quality training schemes to train a typical all-rounded engineer. We don't have them. We rely on experts from above. So if we keep doing this, can we grow a continent like this? If we keep doing this.
It's quite sad, but we'll still have to move on. So let's find out in what ways does engineering create opportunities, especially for sustainable economic development?
You know, we were saying that Africa has the Agenda 2063. In it has 7 aspirations. That all accumulate to tell how Africa will be autonomous, great, and a life giver to other continents, and not a reliant continent, but a giver. But if you compare the aspirations, the 7 aspirations against the 17 goals in the SDGs, we see that which direction we're going. We need engineering. Engineering plays a role to help us end poverty, create full access to education, and a whole lot of things in the SDGs. What are we doing to ourselves if we are not giving our engineers the quality training they need? If we are not investing into our institutions, that would be like we don't even know what we're doing in achieving the SDGs or even the Agenda 2063.
Okay. You know, let me say, sustainable economic development actually, talks about when local economies use their assets to actually develop themselves.
Good.
And with engineering, we've been able to develop these mobile phones, automobiles, and others, which is helping us through innovation. But our farming system, usually we used to make use of these hoes, these cutlass and all that. But with engineering innovation, or let me say the development of engineering, we now have the harvesters, the tractors, which is helping us, which is helping our farming productivity very easy, So let me also make an example to one country that has been able to, develop themselves through engineering. And I'll mention Norway. Through engineering, Norway has been able to, let me say, discovered oil in their own country, which is helping them, which, let me say, the engineers discovered, which is helping them to grow economically. Right now, they are one of the richest countries in the world through engineering. So I think engineering will go a long way to help, one, as Agyemang said, when we are able to harvest and we are able to also train people to see the quality in our country, but not to travel them outside to work for people.
Okay, you know, I have a statement here by UNESCO. It says, having more engineers will boost the quality of life and on the continent and also create opportunities for sustainable economic development. I don't know, but does this statement in some way put some sort of irrelevance on other courses studied in school, like say the humanities and others?
Well, I wouldn't say that other programs in the universities don't matter. They do matter. But engineering is a core part of our living. Now, everything that we can do today easier and faster was engineered. So technology is a core point of engineering. So today, if society can do things much more better and faster, because some engineers have sat down to see how things can be done better. Jemima mentioned that Norwegians discovered oil in their own country because of their capacity in engineering.
Exactly.
We can do better than what we're doing in Africa if we intensify our capacity in engineering. We can make lives of people much better, much flexible, if we can increase or intensify our capacity in engineering.
Okay, life can be made much flexible if the capacity of engineering can be intensified. Health news is up next.
So in our health news, Egypt is about to start clinical trials on its first locally developed COVID-19 vaccine after the jab got regulatory approval. And the Egyptian COVID-19 vaccine is one of the 182 vaccines in preclinical development, according to the World Health Organization COVID-19 candidate vaccine database, which was published in March. Egypt announces third phase of clinical trials of COVID-19 vaccines. Egypt announced on Saturday the beginning of the third phase of clinical trials on 2 vaccines for the novel coronavirus. These experiments are called for humanity and are taking place in 4 Arab countries, namely Egypt, Bahrain, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates. Egypt is expected to participate in these trials by providing 6,000 volunteers. Participants will receive 2 doses of vaccination 21 days apart, following which they will be followed up for a full year. Egypt's Minister of Health, Hala Zayed, said the trials is being run in cooperation with the Chinese government and the United Arab Emirates GA2 healthcare company. The experiment targets 45,000 people worldwide and have been conducted on 35,000 people so far. Interesting. But, you know, Egypt being the first African country about to start clinical trials on a locally developed COVID-19 vaccine, what do you think this means to Africa?
I'm sure Agyemang would want to start.
Well, I mean, this is a big break for us, you know. People thought that Africa didn't have a solution. We heard Madagascar had a vaccine or solutions, a cure. That was a cure somewhere last year. And the WHO didn't approve that cure. So we didn't hear so much about it. But this year, we find Egypt, one of the greatest countries in Africa, creating, having a vaccine that is given room to start testings by the WHO. And that's a big step for Africa. I believe that this is just like a good step in the right direction for other African countries to also pick from one of the biggest countries in Africa, Egypt, on how they came about with this vaccine. There are lots of vaccines in the world. We heard about the PFIZER from BioNTech, Moderna's, AstraZeneca from Oxford, and now we
Johnson
have
and Johnson and many others.
Then we have Covivax from Egypt. So I know we can find more up, you know. And also Sinopharm from China.
Okay.
But do you think this is the right time for Africa to stand on their own to develop their own vaccine?
You know, I don't believe there's anything like a right time to do something. Because if you are to wait to find the right time to start a project, then the right time would never come. COVID is in, and basically we found quite a number of vaccines, and so far Africa hasn't been able to come up with anything like that. So I think this is definitely the right time, and I believe other African countries can toe in the same footsteps of Egypt, because basically this COVID produced by Egypt is clearing the conception that African countries are reluctant, we are lazy, we do not want to make a step. Egypt is on the way clearing that misconception, and I think it's an amazing one.
Exactly.
Okay,
So we're not third world countries. We are also out to the tax to also create solutions for the world.
Exactly.
And watch out for COVID vax as it goes all over the world.
Exactly.
All right, moving on. Researchers have found the new mRNA COVID-19 vaccine to be highly effective in producing antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus in pregnant and lactating mothers.
COVID-19 vaccine trial by PFIZER testing the safety and effectiveness of its shot for pregnant women. Adrian Bankert has this story. Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning to you too, Cecilia. Yes, imagine the joy and the anxiety of being pregnant and catching the coronavirus. This trial so important because pregnant women have been shown to have more serious symptoms.
They are among the most vulnerable to the coronavirus. This morning, Pfizer announcing that it is starting trials of its COVID-19 vaccine on pregnant women. The pharmaceutical giant, along with its German partner BioNTech, administering the vaccine to the first participants in a large study with hopes the vaccine is proven safe and effective for expectant moms and babies.
Well, we're hoping it's going to show a significant immunologic response in the mom as well as in the infant, so that both individuals will benefit.
Until now, there's been very little data on the COVID vaccine safety in pregnant women since they were initially left out of the clinical trials.
They get the vaccine, they're not part of a study, so they don't have antibody levels measured. So we don't know exactly what the antibody levels are in pregnant women, and nor do we know what it is in infants.
The trial will include about 4,000 healthy pregnant women around the world within 24 to 34 weeks of pregnancy. Here in the U.S., the study involves 20.
Interesting. So this means we are going to have, COVID-19 we are going to have immune babies soon. But do you think, with this reaction, let me say, to pregnant women, do you think they should be part of the priority list of people taking the vaccine?
Personally, I'm not so sure, and I don't think there are a lot of pregnant women who are being given the vaccination, because if you check out the vaccination rollout of a lot of countries, Ghana, US, Germany, and many others, you find out that pregnant women have been excluded. They've been excluded for a reason. So perhaps if a pregnant woman is being given the vaccine, it means her doctor or something has prescribed the vaccine to her. Exactly. So it is not advisable for pregnant women to take the vaccine. So personally, I don't think they should be added to the list.
Well, I'm not sharing the same. I'm just lost reading here, because I believe that when the vaccine came, we had some restrictions. Above the age of 60 years was supposed to take the vaccine. But it came there. You could take it, but if you're below 8 years, you can't take the vaccine. And also, if you're pregnant, you can't take the vaccine, because a pregnant woman has a little baby so young in there, and it's not good food for the blood, the DNA. But here we find a whole new genotype that says that yes, they can take the vaccine, and it's much more reacts to give them stronger immune systems. Well, if this discovery is on point, then I think it's a good thing, because we all look forward to strengthening immune systems.
Agyemang, I think I don't know, but is this study giving us a new vaccine? Because if the pregnant women are still going to rely on the same vaccines that are out and has strict instructions that pregnant women are not supposed to take it, then I don't think we are getting anywhere with that.
Well, what I would say is that, understanding COVID-19 and seeing how to combat it better had never been from day one. Each day something new came up. And today we find out that a pregnant woman who gets the vaccine strengthens her immune system 10 times.
So then what's preventing these pregnant women from taking the vaccine in the first place?
You know what happened? I think we came by the point that sometimes even asthmatic patients, someone was infected with asthma as not at the risk of getting COVID-19.
Or even dying.
Yes. You know how strange that was? Yes. And now, pregnant women who get the vaccine strengthen their immune systems against COVID-19 more.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a great opportunity for pregnant women to now take the vaccine and strengthen their immune systems.
No, personally, I don't think I'll be convinced with this until WHO comes out with something that would make me believe.
Well, it works. It comes to this finding. The WHO cross-examines it, and it works, and that's the way to go.
But they haven't yet, right?
Well, I think it's pending, and we'll find out. We'll find out from the WHO about this.
Well, until then, I'm not a believer.
Until then, she's not
I think I'm positive about it, because I think it gets better. We save lots of pregnant women.
But I mean, I think I have something I want to say out there to pregnant women. Just because you've heard of this does not mean you should let down your guard. Please wear your nose mask, because this study I don't think has been proven to that extent where you need to let your guard down.
Of course, and they should even wait for their doctors to say something before
Exactly.
So don't go anywhere as we bring you science and technology news after the short break.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. If you feel like stepping out, remember social distancing. You might just save a life. Rock at home, stay at home, stay safe. Wash your hands with soap and running water. Spaced out but still in touch. Check in on your loved ones and stay safe. GTP, timeless.
You're welcome to the tech news, and researchers have uncovered an innovative way to tap into the overcapacity of 5G networks, turning them into wireless power upgrade for you to assess wireless powering of the Internet of Things.
My name is Manos Tenzeris. I'm Ken Byers Professor in Flexible Electronics with School of EC at Georgia Tech. We have a very unique achievement of our lab, being able to power different wireless devices by just using 5G energy. So it's a way to eliminate batteries. It's a very unique example in the way that it combines for the first time 4 major technologies. It's additive manufacturing and 3D printing, energy harvesting, flexible hybrid electronics, and wireless communications. This could find applications in pretty much any wireless device around us, ranging from Internet of Things nodes, smart cities, smart houses, autonomous cars, sensors operating in very rugged environments that you cannot have batteries, as well as wearable electronics. There is lots of discussion about biomonitoring, and this system could very easily get integrated with your clothes or in some wearable configurations. Monitor your glucose, monitor your blood pressure, monitor minerals, monitor how tired you are, and everything can be done without a battery. Literally, you can have systems working for years without needing to recharge a battery.
Every electronic device around us needs power to function. Remember those terrible times when your phone...
So that we have it where you can now wirelessly power your IoT devices with the 5G network, and I think I find this fascinating. What's your view on this?
I equally find it fascinating and interesting because, I mean, how cool is this? You get to your house, and just because you are connected to the internet, you order your refrigerator to be turned either on or off, and then it works out. You ask your phone, or let's say you order your phone to be charged up, and it does. Your laptop, all other devices, it works perfectly fine for you. I think this is an amazing thing. And personally, I think it would go a long way to make life easier. Because sometimes, I mean, charging your phone becomes a problem even for some people. So I think it would make life a lot easier.
What's your view on this?
I find this interesting, and I'm really happy about it because, as Lydia said, it's going to make life easier because, sometimes doing certain things is difficult. Getting up to on your fridge, getting up to on your television, getting up to on your lights and other things in your own room is sometimes a little bit difficult. So I think with the introduction of this
5G network,
the 5G network is going to make things very easy. And this 5G is even an improvement of 4G, which is going to make things very fast, which is going to improve our internet connectivity and also improve the work the internet does for us.
Agyemang, there's one thing that makes me sad about this thing because I mean, if it's going to work on devices, why can't it work on me? So I just wake up in the morning and I'm like, I want to
stand there.
I want to get dressed, and then it works for me.
I think AI. That would be AI capacity.
For me, that would be the bottom line for me. So I'm yet to see an invention that would give me that.
That would
we
give you
hope
that.
we get there. Okay. Internet. So I think the 5G network has a whole lot in stock for everyone.
Exactly.
To our device, also the way we live life everywhere.
Well, that is all for the news. And in wrapping up, let us take a quick recap of our headlines. On higher education, WASCAL signs MoU with AAU. And again, low quality of African engineers disconcerting, says UNESCO.
And in our health news, Egypt to start clinical trials on COVID-19 vaccine, and also pregnant women show robust immune response to COVID-19 vaccines.
And in our tech news, we saw that there was a leverage on 5G networks to wirelessly power IoT devices around us.
Well, thank you very much for staying with AAU TV as we bring you educative and informative news. My name is Lydia Nyame.
And I am Jemima Deladem Dotsey.
My name is Agyemang, Darko, and I'm glad that you had time to watch us. Do want to follow our social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube, and be safe. Thank you. Have a nice day.